We back, motherfuckers, with another video. This is Dr. Frank Turek. This is Dr. Frank Turek reacts to top atheists with "Why do you mean?" Let's get into it. I'm gonna do a few minutes of this, not this whole video. We're just gonna get into a few minutes of this. I just want to come at these niggas. You feel me?
Front that these are some of the top atheist memes online, you know, so
I better go, man.
All right, so you ready to get roasted?
Let's go, let's do it.
All right, man. So this first one says, it's actually a quote from Richard Dawkins. It says, "Be thankful that you have a life and forsake your vain and presumptuous desire for a second one."
Wow, look at that, man. Who am I thanking, by the way? Be thankful. Who am I thanking? Because, you know, there's a lot going on now with Black Lives Matter, and people are saying all lives matter, and that gets you canceled and all this. According to atheists, no lives matter,
Exactly,
right? Because there's no real purpose or meaning to life. And so this thing is filled.
Why do you have to degrade people by like saying, who the fuck said that there's no, do you actually, this guy has talked to atheists and he's still like repeating nonsense, bro. Just because you undoctrinate yourself from any religion and any mind state of a higher being or a God does not mean you lose value of life. Everything else stays the same. Everything else stays the same. The things that you thought was powered by God turns out it's not powered by God. It's that simple. It's not on no shit where you're just nihilistic. You still have human desires, bro. And what he's saying is be thankful in terms of just have appreciation for being alive. It's not necessarily thankful to a person. That's even more chaotic, that you have to have somebody behind this shit trying. This is what he's talking about. The desire of having a second life. You're being unreasonable. The desire to have an almighty being that you have to thank, that wants to be thanked in the first place.
With all sorts of moral condemnation, that you're vain. Is it wrong to be vain? Who said? Let's suppose I am vain. Does that make why would it be wrong if there's, what's the moral standard that makes it wrong?
This is the complication, bro. Like, even if there was a God who said that something was wrong, literally your religion goes against itself. God says that killing and murder is wrong, and then he goes on to kill and murder. So what are you even talking about? If the person that you are saying that has this divine morality is going against that exact divine morality, then it's not divine. God would fall a line into his ruling also. That makes no sense, bro. Like, why would the person who is in charge of what is moral go against that morality? You are supposed to be the definition of this morality, but yet you got people up here saying that there has to be something behind this shit. No, we have reality. We have everything that is going on around us despite your belief in a God. And this is why people who believe in God think that you're just going to fall apart if you don't have this belief, because they think like this. They think that people who don't believe this shit is somehow morally corrupt.
Presumptuous, I'm presuming something. No, I think I have evidence that there's a second life. And it's not just a desire. I think there's actually evidence out there. So I would, now obviously, with all due respect to Richard Dawkins, it's just a statement. I don't know what comes before or after, but who? The Atheist Alliance of America put this out. Okay.
Yeah.
If you had evidence, you would win a Nobel Peace Prize, but you don't have evidence. You have anecdotal evidence, and that's the issue. That's why nobody believes you. Nobody can take you serious, because only people that you're telling you have evidence to is the ones that's believing. Nobody believes you have evidence because nobody has evidence. Going brain dead and heart dead is completely two different things, and most of the experiences that people report, they're heart dead, not brain dead.
Yeah, so what makes it vain and presumptuous? Just to have a desire for a second one, even if that was the case, right? Like, if you just wanted to I mean, I'm thinking from this perspective, what makes it actually vain and presumptuous on that view?
And why would it be wrong to be vain?
Yeah.
Even if you're suggesting
It's
that there's
wrong
some-
to be vain because we are social beings and our morality is based on our society and social group. This is why different civilizations and even different countries and different parts of the world have different moralities. We have different governments that don't abide by the same morality. If morality was general, everything would be in line. We would fall under one accord. It would not be so many different variations of humans who think different things are moral or immoral.
sort of moral decadence or there's a moral imperfection in being vain. Not according to atheism, because there is no objective morality if atheism is true.
All right, we gotta try another one.
That's what I'm talking about. Like making your own narrative and trying to tell us what we think. This only makes sense if you think that you're right. Because you're taking parts of what you think are right and trying to fit it into what we think. And you're not fully understanding what we think because you're just manipulated by what
All right,
you
get
think.
you on this next one. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Someone says, "How do you explain the universe?" God did it. Rainbows. God did it. Bananas. God did it. Millions of innocent children dying. God did. Whoa, you almost got me there.
Ah, look at
Oh,
that.
that's clever.
Okay, yeah, that is clever. Actually, let's take the creation of the universe, which is how it starts. How do you explain the universe? God did it.
Yeah.
It's not just that we lack a natural explanation for the creation of the universe. It's that the creation of the universe is positive, empirically verifiable evidence for a spaceless, timeless, immaterial, powerful, personal, intelligent being. Because if space, time, and matter had a beginning, which is what even atheists admit, then whatever created space, time, and matter can't be made of space, time, and matter. It must be spaceless, timeless, immaterial, powerful, personal to create the universe out of nothing, because in order to create, you have to make a choice, and only persons can make choices. The cause would also have to be intelligent in order to make a choice. So it's not a God of the gaps argument. In fact, persons can make choices, spaceless, timeless, immaterial, powerful, personal to create the universe out of nothing, because in order to create, you have to make a choice, and only persons can make choices. The cause would also have to be intelligent in order to make a choice.
How do you do any of this without that said existence? All this stuff that you're calculating up in your head, trying to come up with, oh, this thing had to, you're making sense out of shit based on a human experience. This is why I say that humans created God, bro. This is pure evidence. And intelligence, how are you explaining simplicity with complexity? It doesn't work that way. The simple comes first. You don't start with a all great intelligence and then you arrive at a very simple level at the beginning. That makes no sense. How are you using a time basis to think, which takes time? Everything you are describing is inside of time. You have not left the realm of the universe yet. You have not left the realm of time yet. He's talking about this thing is above time and space, but yet thinking takes time, bro. It actually takes time for the electric charge to pass through neurons, bro. That is not something that is instantaneous. It feels instantaneous to us because of our perspective. On a time scale, it actually takes time. So if you're talking about something that is outside of the realm of time, then how are you describing it by using time metrics? You're not even intelligent enough to even describe it without time because you're not understanding that you can't even think about it without a time perspective because our language and our brain and our understanding of the universe is incapable of perceiving anything outside of time.
So it's not a God of the gaps argument. In fact, I was at University of Michigan once, and some guy said to me, got up to the microphone, and he said, "Oh, this cosmological argument is the God of the gaps argument." He said, "If you give science more time, we're going to find a natural cause for all of nature."
Yeah.
And I said, "First of all, John, that sounds a lot like faith.
Yeah.
Give science more time."
Yeah.
It's a faith position, but
That's not a faith position, that is a fact position. Everything that we have discovered in science has happened with time, and before they used to think that the wind was spirit or the rain was a god or natural disasters was punishment, diseases was evil demons. So yes, our understanding of things is completely wrong until we figure it out scientifically. So yes, that is the God of the gaps. You're putting God where we don't know what happened. That's the God of the gaps. You don't understand the God of the gaps, and you don't wanna understand it because you can't make these positions. You can't think like that if you understand it.
But secondly, when you say, give science more time, we'll find a natural cause for all of nature, I said, in principle, there's no way to find a natural cause for all of nature. It must be something that transcends nature, that brought nature into existence. I said, for you to say that would be like me saying, if you just give me more time.
There's something that transcends nature that put nature into existence. And you arrived there without using any science, though. Like, you just, like, this is what belief does to your brain. You can just insert whatever you want, whatever the fuck you want.
I'll figure out one day that I gave birth to my own mother, right? It can't happen in principle. If nature had a beginning, whatever created nature must transcend nature.
Be supernatural. Not to mention it's science of the gap.
That is the ultimate bullshit, bro. That is the ultimate bullshit. It must transcend nature. What? No, it does not have to. It can be more natural than nature is.
Where is the God of the Bible and your... Everyone is posting about coronavirus, and I'm just over here wondering, where is the God of the Bible and your Jesus? What do you say about that?
Well, it's really a question about if God, why evil? And actually, the Christian worldview is the only worldview that can really adequately answer evil.
Why do you say that, Frank?
Because evil only exists if good
Bias off the rip. Evil does not even exist.
exists, and good
It doesn't even say nothing about evil.
only exists if God exists. Because evil is a lack in a good thing. Evil is like cancer. If you take
Evil does not exist. Evil does not exist. We are evil then. We are killing the planet. Just like the virus is killing us, we are killing the planet. We are the same as the virus. How is this an argument for being evil if this is what life does in general? This is why evil doesn't exist, bro. Nothing is intrinsically evil. The circumstances of life is intrinsically evil. Who made it that way? Your God. The circumstances of life for viruses and humans and animals to exist is literally for them to kill each other and even kill themselves in the mission of killing each other. Like viruses kill the host until they die, just like we are killing the planet until we will eventually.
take all the cancer out of a good body, you've got a better body. If you take all the body out of the cancer, you got nothing. It doesn't exist on its own. Yet this meme is implying that the coronavirus is somehow evil. Well, if it's evil because it takes out people, for example, then you're implying that there's a true purpose to life and that people are inherently valuable. Those things don't work on atheism. There is no purpose to life, and people aren't inherently valuable because...
Why is he trying to flip the goal? What the meme post is saying is, where is your God of the Bible and your Jesus at? We're facing hard times, and it's like Christians, atheists, everybody is dying at the same rate. This is the logic, bro. It's like y'all all are going out at the same rate as everybody else. There is no intrinsic specialty. There is no like VIP exclusive exclusion from Christians on like pandemic or natural disasters. They don't get no get out of jail free card or anything on that. So what are you even talking about? It's like you trying to flip shit to keep pushing this narrative that we don't have no morals or we don't have no hierarchy. We all have the same hierarchy, bro. Like there's so much shit in the Bible that you don't live by, but you're claiming that you get your morals from a God in which you literally don't follow it. Like, you literally don't follow it. You literally are mixing fabrics right now. I know he has a leather watch on and a cotton shirt on. Like, you don't just, like, inherently follow anything in your religion. So it's like, we all live under the same morality because we are all westernized. We are of our culture and we do things that are inside of our realm of how we grew up in our environment. It has nothing to do with, oh, you just stop believing in God, so then you just become this person who just doesn't care about anything. You have no will to live. Like, come on, bro. Like that's clearly not the case at all. And he's trying to flip it around to make it seem as though something that is not. Pushing this narrative that atheists are immoral. We are far more moral than you are. We actually are doing shit out of the kindness of our minds and not heart.
There is no God. We're just overgrown machines. We're just moist robots. There is no real true purpose. So it's a valid question.
I mean, I don't mean to keep cutting this shit, but in terms of a God existing, we are kind of just machines. Like, he created us, you feel me? So, like, that's machine work. Like, like, he literally created us and continues. That's like having a factory and he's creating humans. So ultimately, we are kind of like flesh machines according to your religion that just like has to follow instructions, which is also what machines do. Don't really get to question or have your own mind. Matter of fact, Adam and Eve was all about not achieving knowledge. So yeah, it's pretty much like everything about your religion supports that we are machines, but yet you're trying to say that the atheist who doesn't believe in your religion is saying we're machines. Whether or not, like, the arguments that this guy is happening is more for the appeal than anything. It's like, what is more beneficial, or what is more like aesthetically pleasing or mentally pleasing for people to think other than what's facts.
Question asked, okay, why does God allow certain evils to occur? But to say there is no God because certain evils occur doesn't work, because it wouldn't even be evil unless there was a standard of good, i.e. unless God exists. And so we cover this in the book Stealing from God if you want to go further.
No, bro, we still get to say that shit is bad and viruses are bad. And we get that there is no evilness. We get that there is nothing behind it. There is nothing, no evil devil or whatever causing the virus. But in terms of your worldview, you believe that God loves us and is intervening and has some type of plan for humanity. So what about this evil? Like, you have to explain this. We don't have to explain this, as you keep saying, because we don't have no morality. Like, you got to explain this shit, bro. With these posts, since they're from an atheist, instead of trying to answer the questions that the atheists have, because this probably would help us understand your point of view and how, in the arguments that we have, he's trying to flip it around and make it seem like you're dumb for asking this question, and it's kind of a legit question. Like instead of being intellectually honest and giving an honest answer, he's been just like flipping. He's been flipping and avoiding the memes.
All right, sounds good. Next one. This one says, question, prove that God doesn't exist. That's a tough one. Show me how it's done by proving Zeus and Apollo don't exist, and I'll use your method.
Yeah, I would say that this word prove needs to be defined. Because if you're going to say with absolute certainty God doesn't exist, nobody could do that, quite obviously. Even Richard Dawkins, to his credit, admits, okay, on a scale of 1 to 7, where 1 meaning
like I said, define your God, and that's what we could prove he doesn't exist. Define your God. He's omnipresent. We can prove he does. Is he omnibenevolent? Is he everywhere at all times? Did he write the Bible? And this is what I mean. Like when they start to like describe God, they literally start to describe what doesn't exist. It's outside of everything that we see as existence. It's outside of that. It's outside of everything that we perceive as existent. It doesn't exist in. And we understand that we can't see everything, but there's still stuff that is in existence. So by classifying it as like, there's still stuff that is inside of space-time that we can't see because of the expansion of the universe, but it's still inside of physical matter. We can't see it because the expansion of the universe. But what they try to explain God to be is something that is outside of that, in which only they can perceive it, but nowhere else you can perceive it.
I'm a theist and 7 mean I'm an atheist and I know 100% certain. He said I'm a 6.5. Okay, he knows that you can't completely disprove God, or you can't completely say you can't even completely disprove Zeus. We're operating on probability here. So it's a probability argument. And it would be completely presumptuous to say that I can prove that no God exists. Right. In fact, to say that to 100% certainty, you'd have to have all knowledge. You'd have to be God, right? Yeah, in order to do that.
But and you can prove some concepts of God don't exist, right? And that's what you try to do if you try to find a logical contradiction in between the attributes of some God. You can try to prove something like that can exist, but you can't prove that no God exists.
And the other thing I want to say is atheists frequently will say things like, I just go one God further than you. You don't believe in Zeus, Ra, and all. Well, Zeus and Ra and Thor, these are all created beings inside the universe, where Yahweh is the uncreated eternal being outside the universe that, if Zeus, Ra, and Thor existed, would be created and sustained by Yahweh. It's a completely different category.
Do you see how, like, I'm about to cut this shit, but this is what I'm talking about. They sprinkle that shit at the end of everything, bro. Zeus, Ra, and all the shit, it has a whole different architecture. It's kind of like Marvel and DC, Capcom, Dragon Balls, like all of these different franchises operate under different rules. Like they have their own type of laws of magic and understanding in their sector because they get to create it. And this is what is the term of different religions. You can't say that Zeus, Ra, and Apollo and all these things exist inside of the universe that your God created, bro. Because that's not the concept in which they work under. You're just sprinkling that on top of shit in which you could do with any God. Anybody could say that. Matter of fact, there's gods older than Yahweh, which is those gods. And there's more proof that Yahweh came from those ancient sun worshippers. So just get real, bro. Like, stop lying to people.